Hello and welcome to the Entrepreneur Experts Cafe, sponsored by Entrepreneurs Rocket Fuel. I am Kimberly Hobscheid, your host and the creator of the Facebook community Entrepreneurs Rocket Fuel. It's a community sponsored by entrepreneurs for entrepreneurs, helping entrepreneurs and experts get their business to the next level. Come join the community and the conversation at www.entrepreneursrocketfuel.com/Facebook. All right, today I'm going to interview Dr. Ali Lankerani, also affectionately known as Dr. L, or the Parent Whisperer. He is an expert on nutrition and role models and showing up in the world in a really awesome and big way. Dr. L, welcome to the Entrepreneur Experts Cafe.
Thank you, Kimberly, and thank you to our audience for being here and tuning in. I look forward to, I'm excited to be talking with you guys and sharing my expertise and helping and serving in any way possible.
Awesome. Well, you're going to be great. So we're just going to have fun today. I really just want to know a little bit, because I know you and we've worked together, and I've actually taken your course, Mastering Healthy Eating, and some other cool stuff that you have. You've got some Facebook groups, and you've got a lot of really good content out there right now. But because our audience doesn't really know much about you, can you share about 2 to 3 minutes a little bit about who you are and how you show up in the world?
Sure. Well, my name is Ali Lankerani. I am Dr. L, the Parent Whisperer, and I'm a clinical neuroscientist. I had a private practice where I helped families with children that had autism spectrum disorders, like dyslexia, ADD, ADHD, Tourette's, Asperger's, those kind of things. And eventually I decided to kind of move away from that and move more to the prevention side of things. And that's basically where I've been for the past decade. Trying to really kind of move earlier and avoid the whole treating problems and symptoms like I was, seeing the families coming in a decade too late, basically, to be seen and fix the problems. Rather than that, I decided to go ahead and fix my focus and attention on earlier parts, on prevention. So we've created what's called Role Model Maker. And our focus on that is to create future role models by having the current parents lead by example and serve as good role models for their children so they understand what a healthy lifestyle looks like.
I love that. And I think that if you show up in the world and you're a good role model for your kids, that they'll lead healthier lives because they're expecting that that's just how things show up. Are you a big fan of like the big family dinner, like everybody sit down together and have conversation, or is it really just what goes into your mouth, or is it what happens around the experience as well?
Well, the studies usually show that it's always better to eat together, eat around and never in front of a screen, basically. So if we could do that, that would be the ideal thing. And in these days, it seems to be one of those things where you definitely are forced into that situation where you have to be around family, which is actually not a bad thing. It's a time for us to kind of rethink our priorities and make sure we restructure our lifestyle.
That's a good point. I know that, when you finish a long day and you're like, I just want to sit in the front of the television and have a little something or relax for a little while, that can be very tempting. But the ability to connect in early childhood with your kids and show them the value of conversation at dinner and the value of being able to eat a healthy meal is really something that a good, healthy role model will make. Let me ask you this. I know I have a lot of friends who have picky eaters at home. Like they're like, oh, my kid will only eat, cheese or broccoli or whatever. They won't eat anything else. What do you recommend for those folks?
One of it is that you just want them to get exposed to things. The rule in our house is you don't have to like it. You just have to try it. And I don't expect them to finish it if they don't like it. But the exposure creates neural pathways in the brain. Just like if you're walking in a forest, the more people walk down that path, the more that path becomes clear and visible. And then the more easy it becomes to travel through that pathway. So it's the same thing. When you have lots and lots of different varieties of food that just create these little pathways between your tongue and your brain, your digestive system and your brain, eventually your brain starts making the connection and starts getting accustomed to these different feelings. Having said that, there are different reasons for why that happens. Some kids don't actually taste the food. They like the texture of the food. So there are times when you can actually still give them the foods, the same foods, but in a different texture, and they would be able to have that and enjoy it. And so.
Wow, that's fascinating. I know that some of that is linked to your work with kids that have had ADHD, ADD, and the other symptoms. Is it symptoms, or is that what it is?
Yeah,
That you mentioned?
actually, all
Diagnosed?
of those neurodevelopmental disorders,
Sure.
they actually are all symptoms that the brain at some point did not fully develop the way it was supposed to.
Okay.
Because we as humans have a big brain and we cannot fit through the birth canal with our fully grown brains. So we have to come out first before our brains can develop. And it takes about 2 years for us to become viable entities with something that resembles a fully developed brain that now can go ahead and take on the world and respond to it. And so because of that, what ends up happening is we end up taking longer, basically, to get to that point. And when that brain is developing, if something happens where it doesn't develop properly, then later on, when you ask it to do these higher skill and higher functioning tasks, then all of a sudden your brain starts showing up and manifesting behaviors that before, or for the average person, is not normal. So that's when we find out.
All right. And you yourself actually experienced some of that growing up as well. Is that right? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, that's a painful story. I grew up with ADHD myself before there was a diagnosis called ADHD. So I was called a bright but mischievous boy. And my teachers were fed up with me because I would catch a concept of what they were trying to teach in the first 5 minutes. And I would disrupt the class for the next hour, basically.
Because you were bored, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what ended up happening, and this was difficult because I grew up in Iran in an environment where there was war going on between Iran and Iraq. And had it not been for the efforts and the struggles of my mom trying to get me to go ahead and study, I would have fallen behind. Because as you know, things like ADD and ADHD, these are learning disorders, learning disabilities. So when you are required to go ahead and perform at an extra high level in order for you to literally survive, because if you didn't pass your university national entrance exams and be in the top 1% of the performers in the entire country, you wouldn't be able to get into the schools. Then you were sent to the front lines to fight a war. And so there was this real life and death situation that's, me as a kid wouldn't know the difference between any of these things. So that pressure fell on my parents to try to go ahead and fill in the gap and get me to be at the level that I'm supposed to be.
All right.
The good long story short, I won the lottery, basically. I happened to come here 2 weeks before I was taken in for a draft.
To the U.S. Fantastic. Well, that's a lucky story, and we're glad you're here with us. That would be a total different story. So I can see where your passion comes in from this particular subject. It makes a lot of sense. But there are things that parents can do in order to stem the tide, to make sure that they set their kids up for the best possible. And that is both by being a good role model and demonstrating the correct behaviors, but then also by making sure that their kids have access to the good foods and the correct behaviors as well. Is that right?
Exactly. Having a proper understanding of how to support the brain is critical in proper brain development. So, and that's not only for the children, but also for us. We want to show up to life and be able to serve and share our gifts and, fulfill our mission while we're on this planet.
Fantastic. All right, cool. Thanks so much for sharing. That was really, really fascinating. And I really appreciate you carving time out of your schedule to be here with us. I know you're super busy, so I really appreciate that. Share with us a little bit how people can get to know you more. Is there a way that they can get in touch? What is your contact information?
Our company is called rolemodelmaker.com. But I think the foundational tool and skill that everybody needs is understanding how to master healthy eating and what to eat. And for that, I do invite all the members in the audience to actually join our free Facebook group called Food and Fitness 101, where we often talk about what actually fitness means and what foods are considered good, what skills do you need to prepare the foods or to have the proper foods. And we discuss the details on that, and they can get additional tips and information on food and fitness.
Okay, so that's Food and Fitness 101 on Facebook. It's a group to join, and it has all kinds of tools and advice and methodologies that you can use in order to make sure that you are being the best possible role model that you can be for your kids and beyond. All right, fantastic. That was really good information, Dr. L. We are at time, but any final words for our crew before I let you go?
Just keep doing what you're doing. You are a superhero. And you just need to be recognized for that and realize that you make a big difference, not only in the lives of your family, but also in shaping humanity's future.
Wow, that was great. Okay, shaping humanity's future. I love that. All right, thank you so much, Dr. L. This has been another episode of the Entrepreneurs Experts Cafe, and it is sponsored by Entrepreneurs Rocket Fuel, which is a Facebook community. We would love for you to join the conversation at www.entrepreneursrocketfuel.com/Facebook. Join the community, join the conversation. We'd love to have you there. All right, folks, until next time, cheers.